Okay.
Tell him, stop following me. Police officer. So I asked police officer to tell him to stop following me.
Beware of the dark.
Beware of the dark.
Thanks for that.
Stay still. Gun, we're not gun.
Same car comes back down the road.
This unsettling encounter comes from Ginity, the creator of the self-titled YouTube channel and a well-known Twitch live streamer. Ginny is known for traveling across the world, gaming, and sharing live IRL streams that are usually cheerful, interactive, and focused on culture, food, and outdoor exploration. Her content is typically lighthearted, with viewers joining her journeys in real time. However, on May 6, 2023, while streaming live in Taiwan, one of her adventures took a disturbing turn. Ginny had accepted a viewer challenge that involved backpacking and hiking through Taiwan's scenic landscapes, something she had done many times before without issue. The hike began normally, surrounded by nature and calm trails, with her audience watching live as she moved deeper into the area. But midway through the hike, Ginny began to notice something that didn't feel right. Small details started to stand out, subtle movements, an uncomfortable sense of being watched, and moments that made her instincts kick in. What started as a peaceful outdoor challenge slowly shifted into something far more unsettling, marking the beginning of an encounter that would leave both Ginny and her viewers unsettled.
Over here. Well, where? No, this leads somewhere else, dude. The guy in dark clothes. Oh, he's there. He's there. Do you see him? But he's like covering his entire clothes with a black mask as well. Yeah, I can't see his face at all. He's like ninja. Such a... This is our check stop. We can rest, drink some coffee. Oh God. Hello! Hi! Thank you! 真的吗？啊，谢谢 Thank you, thank you!
Hey, it's a pretty boy.
Oh, what do you want? Nice to meet you! Yeah! Thank you! Bye bye! Guys, you gave me IRL dono. Chee 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 chee. Wow, I need that. Guys, that guy's still there. That guy was following us. Why is the guy following us? Whenever I looked at him, he waved at me. He's stalking for sure. Yeah. He stopped when I stopped. He's going when I'm going. You see? That we're here, and that is the easternmost part of Taiwan. Kwaidao. He's all the way there, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna like wait. It's more sus and scary because he's like we cannot see his face at all. He doesn't even talk to me. He just like follows.
Viewers in her live chat were the first to notice something strange, repeatedly pointing out a man who kept appearing behind her on the road and in the background of the stream. At first, Ginny dismissed it as a coincidence, assuming he was just another passerby, and she continued walking. But about 15 minutes later, the unease grew when she realized the same person was still there. It became clear that he wasn't simply heading in the same direction. He was lingering. Dressed entirely in black with his face partially obscured, the man kept a careful distance but matched her movements almost perfectly. When Ginny slowed down or stopped, he did the same. When she picked up her pace, he followed, never closing the gap yet never falling behind. What made the situation especially disturbing was his silence. He didn't speak, gesture, or acknowledge her presence in any normal way. He just followed. Anxiety began to set in as more time passed, and the man showed no sign of leaving. For a brief moment, he moved out of sight, and Ginny felt a flicker of relief, thinking he had finally gone. But that relief vanished when she spotted him again shortly afterward, still nearby, still watching, confirming that whatever this was, it was no longer a coincidence.
Look, he's just there. Did he hide in the bush? Did he hide in the bush? I will confront him when I arrive at one of the places where there are more people, if it's still following there. Because right now it's just me and him. I don't want to confront the person when it's just one versus one.
The man stayed nearby, sometimes ahead of her, sometimes behind, but never leaving. The unease grew, yet Ginny avoided confronting him since the road was empty. She decided it was safer to wait until other people were around before saying anything.
It's over there.
Dial 110 and call the police.
Well, is that like appropriate moment to call 110? Because he has been following, yes, but he hasn't done anything. Did he get up? He did. He got up. Dude. Why is he coming closer to me?
Show him your thumb. He comes near you, he will run away ASAP. He's obviously a sick dude trying to steal the show for attention. Hopefully that is the worst of his motives. Don't let him out of your sight, but stay far from him. Cross the road if you have to.
Hours passed and the man was still there, lingering nearby. Ginny chose to stay on the main road instead of heading to her planned backpacking location, knowing that a remote area would leave her completely alone and vulnerable. Remaining in public felt safer. Being in a foreign country made the situation even more stressful. She avoided going to the restaurant and lodging where she was staying, fearing the stalker might learn where she was headed. Instead, she kept her live stream running, talking with her viewers for reassurance. Many urged her to call the police, but she hesitated, unsure of the local laws and worried that the man hadn't technically done anything yet. With no clear option, she continued streaming and stayed alert, hoping the situation wouldn't escalate.
What is he doing? Looks like he's like collecting something. Oh, there's a police officer. Oh, well, I think someone called police. Go tell the cop. Do I go tell the cop? Okay, let me ask. Okay. Thank you. Stop following. Can you tell him stop following me? Yeah. Thank you. Police officer. So I asked police officer to tell him to stop following me. Police officer is asking him to show his face. I guess we can leave, right? Yeah, he'll tell him.
The man's behavior became increasingly unsettling as time passed. At moments, he would disappear into the bushes only to re-emerge shortly after. At other times, he would oddly pick up random trash bags or linger without purpose, actions that felt erratic and unnerving. Nothing about his presence seemed natural or accidental. For nearly 4 continuous hours, he silently followed her, never speaking, never explaining himself. While he never physically approached or harmed her, the sheer duration of the stalking, especially targeting a woman who was alone, suggested something far more sinister than coincidence or curiosity. His unpredictable actions and persistent shadowing made it clear that the situation carried a real and frightening sense of danger. Eventually, Ginny spotted a police officer nearby. One of her viewers had contacted the authorities, and the officer began looking into the situation. Ginny didn't wait around to hear why the man had been following her, or what his intentions were. She left the area immediately, asking the officer to make it clear that the man was not to follow her again. Later, Ginny updated her viewers, explaining that there was information which might shed light on the man's unsettling, almost psychopathic behavior.
There was a news. So apparently, police said, he got aggressive when police officers were investigating him. But, yeah, he went to hospital. It was on TV news. I think he had, like, a little bit of mental problem. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, he's gonna get all the help he needs in the hospital.
She later explained that when the police confronted the man, he became aggressive and ended up in the hospital after getting injured during a struggle with the officer. It was later confirmed that he was dealing with serious mental health issues, and the incident even made local news in Taiwan. Ginny escaped the situation unharmed, but it was unsettling to realize what could have happened if the police hadn't arrived in time, especially knowing he wasn't in his right state of mind. People struggling with severe mental health issues can sometimes act unpredictably or violently, and Ginny made the right decision by not confronting him. She trusted her instincts, stayed in public areas, and kept herself visible through her live stream until help arrived. This encounter serves as a powerful reminder that bravery doesn't always mean confrontation. Sometimes survival depends on caution, awareness, and restraint. Ginny walked away safely, but the experience left a lasting impact, showing just how quickly an ordinary day can turn into something truly frightening. This encounter comes from Haunted Finders, a channel known for exploring some of England's most haunted and remote forests, abandoned buildings, and forgotten places, often stepping deep into the unknown. On January 9th, 2025, Tom and David set out on what they expected to be another spine-chilling investigation. This time, their destination was one of England's most haunted forests, a place infamous for eerie whispers, unexplained sounds, and shadowy figures said to lurk among the trees. Fully equipped and determined to uncover the truth behind the forest's dark reputation, Tom and David ventured into the woods. However, as the investigation progressed, the experience began to shift. What unfolded that night didn't feel purely paranormal. Instead, it took on a far more disturbing edge, one that left them questioning whether they were dealing with something much more real and dangerous than expected.
So we've come to a massive forest, which is said to be extremely haunted. We actually came to this area, when was it? A few years ago now, wasn't it?
2 years.
Yeah, it's got to be probably touching 3 years probably,
Yeah.
now I'd say. And we caught some crazy stuff in here. And we've not been back really since, so thought we'd head out here because this place is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. We are in the middle of the forest, and even the road to get in here is just surrounded by forest, and it spreads for miles in that direction, that direction, that direction, and that direction. So we're pretty much in the middle of it at the minute. So we're going to sort of take a little walk through, see if we can capture anything, and just see what we pick up on. So yeah, let's get into it. Quiet, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Nobody going to be up here.
Just gonna run Spirit Talker, see what we get on this. I'm gonna leave the app running and stick it in my pocket so I can use my torch, because it's absolutely pitch black.
Can you come close to us and make these lights go off, please? That's how we know that you're here around us.
You can use the device here in my pocket to talk to us.
Beware of the dark.
Beware of the dark.
Thanks for that. We're in the middle of the forest now.
In
Could
the
have told
dark.
us down there.
Yeah.
Well, it's on the main road.
Why do we need to beware? Is there somebody here that we should beware of?
Tom powered on his spirit talker and began interacting with it, posing questions into the silence and started getting responses. As they continued further into the forest, the mood around them began to shift. The unsettling calm gave way to a tight, heavy tension, making it feel as though the woods were closing in on them.
Is there somebody following us? A lot of different people have seen strange things in this forest. Are you one of those things? What was that a minute ago?
I just heard somebody talking.
I thought I heard someone talking. That's why I stopped. Hello? Hello? Is there somebody there?
Yeah,
You
that.
heard that, didn't you?
Yeah.
What's that? That's like a...
Talking.
But it sounded like a kid.
You hear somebody talking? You hear somebody talking?
Don't know, I keep hearing loads of weird stuff at the minute. You do it. You do Bigfoot noise. And see if someone answers you.
How's it go? I forgot. I haven't watched
It's
it
like
for ages.
it sounded like someone going, ooh, it was weird.
Try it. Oh! That's pretty good.
As they moved forward, Tom and David began hearing unexplained voices echoing through the trees. The sounds didn't resemble any animal. They were disturbingly human. At times, the voices sounded like an adult, and other times like a child, occasionally breaking into what resembled a howl. There was no logical explanation for what they were hearing. With every sound, the unease continued to build. Surrounded by a dense, pitch-black forest and still receiving responses through their equipment, the situation felt increasingly unsettling, like they were no longer alone.
Hello? Hello? I just saw you. We're just here for a walk. We're not going to do anything, just shout back so we know you're there. That was a person. Hey?
Then, without warning, Tom spotted a figure moving through the darkness between the trees. He described it as a crouched shape, completely unlit, slipping quietly from one tree to another as if trying to stay hidden. Tom called out, but there was no response. For a moment, they questioned what they had seen. Who would be out there, alone in the middle of the night, deep inside the forest? Trying to rationalize it, they brushed it off as their imagination and continued exploring. But not long after, something even more unsettling occurred, forcing them to question that decision.
I'm a size 13. Look at the size of that. What?
Yeah.
Torch. There's a torch. I told you. There's someone gone in the woods. I saw them walk in there. There, look, see it? There, look, I've caught it on camera. I told you I saw someone.
Wait, is that a torch?
There, look, is that a torch?
Yeah. What?
That was a scream.
What?
That was a scream. Holy shit, David.
What screen?
Did you hear the woman scream?
Yeah.
David, he's walking up. He's walking up the road. He's going to the road. Get in the car. Oh shit. Open the door. Get in the car. Get in the car. A woman's just pissed and screamed and he's just creeping down the road, Law. Look at him, he's there. He's there on the road.
Right, get him, film him.
David, pull off.
What do you mean?
Start the car. What is he doing? He's shining it in the car. Turn that radio off. See, because there's a flipping woman that was screaming down there, and then this guy's just come out of nowhere, and I told you I saw someone creeping near your car. He's gone up that flipping dirt track.
Where?
The other forest dirt track.
Alright, let me get out.
Wait, stay there. I need to get a shot of this shit. Unless his mate's coming.
Where you going?
Stay there. Look at that. Where is he? See him? What is he up to? He told me he's coming back. He told me to start coming back. David, drive. Jesus, drive. Right, craziest. Wait, turn that blur off a minute. Craziest stuff just happened, so.
Suddenly, they noticed a torchlight flickering through the trees, coming from the exact area where Tom had earlier seen the shadowy figure. Almost at the same moment, a loud scream echoed through the woods. It sounded unmistakably like a woman's scream, yet it came from the same direction as the figure holding the torch. That alone made no sense. Then the situation escalated. The man with the torch began walking straight toward them. Tom and David shouted out, demanding to know who he was, but he gave no response at all. He didn't speak, didn't call back, and didn't acknowledge them in any way. He just kept moving silently, directly toward David's car. Sensing immediate danger, Tom and David jumped into the vehicle and started driving. That's when the man suddenly broke into a run, charging toward the car. They accelerated without hesitation and fled the area, refusing to look back. Only afterward did the earlier details begin to make sense. Tom and David believed the ghost communicating through the spirit talker had been warning them, repeatedly urging them to be aware. In hindsight, it felt as though the ghost already sensed a dark presence nearby, or knew the true intentions of the man hiding in the forest. The way he stayed concealed in the darkness and then charged toward them in complete silence didn't feel random or accidental. It felt predatory, as if he had murderous intentions. The moment he chased after their car, those warnings took on a chilling meaning. To Tom and David, it felt like the ghost was trying to protect them, alerting them before they became targets or something even worse. Everything about him felt deeply unsettling. His silence, his behavior, and the fact that he never tried to explain himself. And then there was the scream. It came from the same direction where he was seen, making the encounter even more disturbing. Later, many viewers urged Tom to notify the police, believing the scream may have belonged to a woman who was being harmed, or worse. The timing and location made it feel far from accidental, erasing the chilling possibility that the man may have already injured her, or was in the act of doing something far more violent. They were lucky to get away, because not all predators walk on 4 legs. Sometimes the most dangerous ones walk on 2. Humans can be far more terrifying than any animal in the wild. You never truly know who you're facing out there, whether their intentions are innocent, disturbed, psychopathic, or outright murderous, and that uncertainty is what makes encounters like this so deeply unsettling. This footage comes from Casey Johnston, a solo van lifer who spends her life traveling across the country in her self-converted van, a space she doesn't just live in, but truly calls home. For Casey, van life symbolizes freedom, solitude, and peace, allowing her to explore nature and experience the world on her own terms. Traveling alone has always brought her a sense of calm and control, but during one stop in southern Utah, that sense of safety suddenly unraveled. That night, Casey parked her van at a small dirt pull-off just outside a quiet town. The spot felt neutral, neither isolated nor busy, exactly the kind of place that usually passes without incident. Everything seemed normal until the next morning. At around 7 a.m., as the day was just beginning, something disrupted the stillness outside her van. At first, it seemed ordinary, almost harmless, but as the moments passed, the situation began to feel off. What initially seemed insignificant quickly turned unsettling, and Casey realized that whatever was happening outside was not as normal as she first believed.
Usually, I would show you guys me making coffee or breakfast here in the van, and that is just not what happened this morning. In fact, Olive and I had a fairly unsettling morning, and I'm going to tell you guys about it. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Casey. I live in my self-converted camper van, full-time, on the road with my cat Olive. So just for some context, we are in a very small town in southern Utah, and we have already switched spots, but the spot we were at last night and this morning was actually a big dirt pull-off off the main road going in and out of town. So Olive and I woke up fairly early. I started working on my computer and recording some footage for the vlog, and I noticed at about 7 a.m. a black car went past us very slowly on the main road here. The speed limit is 40 miles an hour, and this car was going maybe 15 to 20 miles an hour, which struck me as odd, but they kept driving, so I really didn't think much of it. Until about 5 minutes later, the same car came back down the road and pulled off into the same lot as us and actually drove behind the van. And I was close enough to the car at this point that I could see there were two men in it. One was driving and one was in the passenger seat. And they actually went up a little road that was behind the lot that we were parked in. And they got to the end of the road, turned right back around, and then very slowly started coming back down the road towards the van. So this whole time I'm sat up here in the cab area very discreetly trying to watch what they're doing out this driver's side window. But once they got close enough back towards the van, I actually moved from up here into the back area because that is where I keep my safety items. And unfortunately, I don't have a window on the driver's side back there, so I lost my visual of them, but I could hear that they pulled their car up right along the driver's side of the van, and they actually honked their horn at us.
She soon noticed a black car slowly passing her van, moving at an unusually slow speed, around 15 kilometers per hour. At first, Casey dismissed it as nothing, but about 5 minutes later, the same car returned, this time driving behind her van. That's when she noticed two men inside. The car reached the end of the road, turned around, and came back again. This time, it didn't pass by. It stopped beside her van and began honking repeatedly, the first clear red flag that this was no coincidence.
Which, of course, I ignored. And after I didn't respond to their honk, one of them got out of the car and came up and started knocking on my driver's side window, which I also ignored. And just to clarify, this was not a police car, this was not a security car. These were just two dudes in a car. So a couple minutes after I ignored the knocking, they finally left. They went back out onto the road and I watched them slowly drive away. At this point, I knew I needed to leave
the lot, but I wasn't sure where I was going to go because, again, this is a small town and it is surrounded by very desolate areas. So the last thing I wanted to do was immediately try to leave town, drive out into the middle of nowhere, and have them follow me. So I was looking up on my phone options for places to go, and I kid you not, 30 to 45 minutes later, the same car comes back down the road and pulls off on a street just up the road from us. So my brain is immediately telling me, oh, these guys are up the street and now they're just watching you. So I decided to come here, about 3 minutes away, to a local breakfast joint. I didn't see them follow me, and I haven't seen them in the hour that I've been sat here now. But yeah, pretty weird morning. So all that to say, you guys, I've decided Olive and I are driving about 2 hours away from here today. I feel better about doing it now that it's later in the day and there are just more cars on the road in general. And we're also going to be passing through the Four Corners, which is the intersection of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico here in the US. There's a monument there that I will bring you guys along with me to go see. But other than that, the only priority today is finding and getting to a place where we feel safe settling for the night.
The next red flag came when one of the men stepped out of the car and walked directly toward her van, knocking on the driver's side window. Casey didn't respond. Instead of moving forward or calling out, she stayed completely silent, sitting in the back of the van and keeping herself out of sight. After a short moment, the men returned to their car and drove away, leaving behind an uneasy silence. Thinking the situation might finally be over, Casey decided to leave the area. But 30 to 40 minutes later, her fear returned when she noticed the same black car approaching her van once again. That was the moment everything clicked. This was no longer a coincidence. These weren't random guys casually passing by. They were actively circling her, lingering with clear intent. It didn't look like they were lost, and their repeated presence made their behavior feel deliberate. As the realization set in, so did the unease. The surroundings were isolated and desolate, and driving off immediately could have made her even more vulnerable, potentially allowing them to follow her onto an empty stretch of road. Trusting her instincts, Casey chose caution over panic. Sometimes listening to that inner warning can prevent something far more dangerous. A woman alone in a van can easily become a target for malicious intent, and in this case, staying calm and thinking carefully may have protected her. While the men's true intentions remain unknown, the way they continued hovering around her felt threatening, and eventually, Casey made her way towards somewhere safe. The Hoggett Project is a channel that documents outdoor adventures, including hiking and solo camping trips. On October 22nd, 2023, the host set out on a solo backpacking trip, planning to explore a clearing located 3 miles into the forest. He arrived shortly after dawn with all his gear on his back and began his hike through the woods as planned. Everything felt calm and routine until midway through the hike, when something strange happened. As he walked peacefully along the trail, he began to hear movement in the bushes around him, off at a distance. Whatever it was, it sounded like it was running, and the noise was loud enough to make him stop completely. He paused, listening closely, trying to figure out what could be causing those sounds in the surrounding brush.
Yeah, it looks like this road wraps up, and it should go right next to the clearing, and at that point, we'll look for a spot. Ooh, yeah, we're coming up on the clearing now. Oh, you heard that right?
He then began to hear distinct footsteps and heavy movement coming from the bushes nearby. At first he assumed it was a wild animal passing through the area, but moments later he caught a brief glimpse of a silhouette moving within the bushes. That changed his assumption. He considered the possibility that it might be another hiker in the area and didn't think much of it. The figure moved quickly and he assumed the camera hadn't picked it up, since it wasn't unusual for other hikers to be nearby. He brushed it off and continued on with his hike.
I think what I saw was another person. I don't know why they're out here and why they're running through the bushes. I mean, it's bright out here, and it was almost like it was a pure shadow that I was watching. Could have been a black bear. This is a wild place, but it was trying to be stealthy walking through the woods. But yeah, it could just be a homeless person, huh? Living under that bridge over there. Oh, that's good. Yeah, definitely interesting. I wonder if I got anything on video. Whew, these bugs are bad. So I gotta get moving. This has been a real peaceful hike. Other than when you stop and get attacked by the gnats and mosquitoes. I mean, that always happens though. Has to be expected.
He continued his hike and eventually found a clearing where he settled in for the night. At the time, nothing else seemed out of place. But later, while reviewing the footage from that trip, he discovered something that left him deeply shaken. At first, he assumed what he was seeing might be another hiker, or possibly a homeless person passing through the area. But as he looked closer, the footage told a very different story. A white figure could be seen standing partially behind a tree, watching him. The figure appeared to have a pale, almost white body and arms, with dark, hollow-looking eyes. The image wasn't perfectly clear, but it was clear enough to rule out a wild animal, and just unsettling enough to not resemble a human either. Whatever it was, it felt unnatural, something mysterious and almost otherworldly. The realization that this had been captured during what was supposed to be a normal backpacking trip left him shaken to his core. To this day, the identity of that figure remains unknown, leaving behind a chilling mystery that may never be explained. This footage comes from Chris, the creator of the YouTube channel Blot Outdoors Show, where he documents wild camping, stealth camps, backpacking journeys, hiking trails, and van life adventures across remote locations. On September 3rd, 2023, Chris and his friend Mick headed out for what they expected to be another routine stealth camping trip, similar to many they had done before. This time, their destination was Chillingham Castle, a site well known for its centuries-old history, dark past, and countless ghost stories tied to the area. What was planned as a simple overnight camping stay near a historic landmark would gradually begin to turn into something far more unsettling, eventually leaving them desperate to get out of the area. As they arrived at the castle grounds, the surroundings appeared calm and undisturbed, giving no immediate sign of what the night would bring.
So welcome back to the Blot Outdoor Show, guys. Today I've got the human dorsal fin joining me on this camp. Looking forward to this one, Mick? Oh yes. We're currently in the grounds of Chillingham Castle, which is supposed to be the most haunted castle in the whole of Great Britain. We're not going to try anything daft, you know. We're not going to be dressing up. I'm not going to be putting no white sheets over the top of Mick and trying to trick you guys. And to be honest, I'm very sceptical about things like ghosts and stuff like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a mooch around. We haven't got the bags on yet. We've left them in the old Jean-Claude Van Sexual. We're going to have a walk around the castle, you know, because it's supposed to be a beautiful thing to see. Okay then, folks, we've found a spot to camp. Just over there, in that gap, through the bushes. I don't want to show you it yet and ruin the surprise. You'll have to wait until we get there, guys. When we do get back here, this is going to be the final bit where we've got to be stealthy. I'll show you. As you can see, the castle is there. So once we get over there and we're in the bushes, it's happy dingoes, as they say in the doodying. Right then, me and Schmick, we're now going to make our way back to the van, get the old Baghdad on me backaroony, and I'll see you legends when we're making our way back down. You know, it makes sense.
After scouting the area, they chose a concealed location for the night and headed back to the van to collect their equipment. Their intention was to blend into the darkness once night took over, avoiding any attention from patrols or security. When the light faded and evening set in, they carefully returned to the spot and pitched their tent.
Okay folks, that's the tent up and all our gear set up. It looks like it's dark here in the woods, but as you can see, it's still light once you step outside. Well, I might as well show you all of our food and drink and inside the tent. We've already had a can dingo. We've had a nice can of blood orange. It was lovely, wasn't it? We had a right thirst on off walking around. Okay then, mandingos, I'll show you inside the tent. I'm on the left as usual. Same shit guys, foil mat down, berghouse, sleeping pad, 2-season sleeping bag, mixed goodies, little OEX sleeping pad there. His sleeping bag there, God knows what name it is, but it's done the job for him. He's had it a good couple of years now. Right, show you all our food and drink.
After giving their viewers a quick tour of the campsite, they sat down with drinks and snacks, chatting about the castle's dark history and the ghost stories that surrounded it. But then gradually, the atmosphere shifted. It felt oddly heavy and tense, but they dismissed the unease and crawled into their tent, hoping for a quiet night.
Oh, get these boots off, get snug. I'll bring you legends back in a minute. You better believe I will. Lice. What the hell was that? Can you hear that?
They were huddled in their tent when a sudden, piercing scream cut through the night, freezing Chris and Mick in place. At first they tried to dismiss it, convincing themselves it was just a bird or some wildlife, and tried to carry on. But then, something even more unsettling happened, making the uneasy feeling impossible to ignore.
Okay folks, we're back in the tent now. I've got to be honest, there's been nothing spooky happen tonight. It's been a nice chilled out camp. What the fuck's that? Sorry guys.
What the fuck is that?
There's definitely something going on outside the tent.
What the fuck?
Fucking hell.
I'll put the card up there.
Calm. Stay still, stay still, stay still. It stopped. It stopped. There was definitely some footsteps or something out there, mandingos. I don't know if you heard that. The camera probably didn't pick it up, so you probably think we're full of shit. Anyway guys, I'm gonna press stop on the record and I'll bring you back soon. I'm busting for a slash Gordon anyway, so I'm gonna go outside and I'll check it out. Did you hear that?
Right.
It was like footsteps, and then it got faster, but then as we started like talking, it just stopped. I think we should have just kept quiet. Oh, I tell you what, I see what people are talking about when you get that cold, eerie feeling about you. Okay, mandingos, I'll bring you back very soon. Right.
Suddenly, a strange mix of noises emerged outside their tent, footsteps crunching on the ground, accompanied by a low, eerie hissing sound. Fear surged through them as it became clear they weren't alone. Seeking an explanation, Chris stepped outside to check, moving quietly and off camera, but found nothing. No footprints, no movement, no sign of anyone. The emptiness only deepened their unease, and both began to feel a real gnawing fear.
But I definitely heard footsteps there.
Definitely heard
I heard
footsteps
like
there.
footsteps, and then they got faster. But then as I turned and said like, what's that? And Mick like moved. It just stopped. But there's been nothing since. We're sitting chilling, we're having a few biscuits, so hopefully that's it. My pal friends. Maybe it's a few too many drinks, Mick.
Aye.
And our imaginations, how do you say it? We're imagining things. I don't know how you say it, guys. My mind's gone blank. Maybe it's our minds has run away with itself. And, aye. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Apart from getting caught. But, you know, it's been, the fuck's that?
What the fuck's that?
Hold on.
What the fuck's that?
Just hang tight, hang tight. Fuck. Wait. Quiet. Oh yeah, No, we're not gone. We'll have to stay. What the hell was that? What was that? Right. Honestly. My heart is beating. I feel sick. And I feel cold. How cold is it gone now? Honestly, I normally think things like this is full of shit. I don't know if the cameras picked that up. You might think we're talking absolute crap, but could you hear them noises there?
Aye. So it's schizophrenia.
For a while, everything went quiet, and they began to think it had all been their imagination. But moments later, the sounds returned, this time louder and far closer. Along with rapid, circling footsteps, there was a deeply unsettling noise, a twisted sound that resembled someone moaning, distorted and unnatural. It felt as if something was moving around their camp, just beyond what they couldn't see. Then, as suddenly as it began, the noise stopped. Fear flooded over Chris and Mick as they sat frozen, trying to understand what or who could be out there with them in the darkness. They briefly considered abandoning the camp, but having already had drinks, driving wasn't possible. With no other option, they decided to stay the night. Nothing else happened after that, but the sense of unease lingered long after the sounds faded.
7 o'clock. Well, just after 7. What a fantastic night. I nearly shit my pants. I think little Mick has followed through. I've never experienced anything like that in my life ever. Like I've said earlier on in the video, I'm always very skeptical when I hear these stories, but there was definitely like footsteps outside the tent. It was like footsteps, and then it sounded like the footsteps were getting faster and started to run, and then just stopped. And then later on, we heard like, I'm looking around to try and think where it was coming from, what bushes. It was one of the bushes or one of the trees. You could hear like shaking, and like a strange how do I explain it? Like a strange groaning noise. The feeling that was going through my body, like, oh. I was terrified. So we haven't had too much sleep. Kind of just lying there, dozing off for a few minutes and then waking back up. Just waiting for it to get light. Mick's still in the tent now. He's asleep, so I'm going to go and wake him up.
Chris later admitted that this night marked the most terrifying experience he had ever faced in his life. Before this trip, he had never believed in ghosts or paranormal stories, often brushing them off as exaggerations or folklore designed to scare visitors. However, what he and Mick experienced that night at Chillingham Castle forced him to question those beliefs. The combination of sounds they heard, the distant screams, the unsettling moaning noises, and the fast circling movement around their tent did not resemble anything natural or ordinary. It didn't feel like wildlife, nor did it sound like a person simply passing by. There was an intelligence and intent behind it that made the situation deeply disturbing. When Chris and Mick finally packed up and left the castle grounds, they were physically unharmed, but mentally shaken. They left with far more questions than answers, haunted by the thought of what or who had been out there with them in the darkness. Whatever they encountered that night remains unexplained, reinforcing the chilling legends tied to Chillingham Castle and leaving behind a mystery that still unsettles them to this day.